Uh, okay, we have too many participants. Mohammed AlAmer was the first person I see his hand. So, choose a question.
12.
Number 12. Question says, you get the offer of acting in a movie. What role would you take? A protagonist, a regular person in the movie, or the villain? Again, the question says, you get the offer of acting in any movie. What role would you take? A protagonist, a regular actor, or a villain? Stage is yours.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a movie person, but if I would be a character in a movie, I would be the villain, because many times, every movie that I see is very cliche. Always the protagonist, the hero, always wins in the very stupid, the most ridiculous way. So, in my opinion, I think being a villain, well, I couldn't change the course of the movie, but I always sympathize with the villain most times, because he sometimes his plan or his scheme is very reasonable, and you can't help but support him. For example, like Thanos from Infinity War. In my opinion, I was rooting for him. I wanted him to win, and I didn't like the Endgame movie at all. So yeah, I'll be the villain. Back to you.
Okay. Faisal Malki, would you like to participate now?
Yes.
Okay.
The way I'm gonna pick, I have a 20-sided dice. So I'm just gonna roll that, see what I get. 11.
Okay.
11.
Question number 11. Okay. Question says, you're isolated in an island with a group of people for the next 6 months. How are you going to lead them? The question again says, you're isolated in an island with a group of people for the next 6 months. How are you going to lead them? Stage is yours. Best of luck.
All right. So first thing I do is never roll dice for questions because I got a very tough one. But for me, I've watched the movie Castaway. So in the movie, it's about a guy who works for FedEx, and his plane crashes, and he lands on an island with no items. But he gets a bunch of packages from FedEx. And in one of the packages, he decides, you know what, I'm just gonna deliver this back. This is my purpose to get off this island. But if I was stuck for 6 months, I'm gonna assume that I don't know how long it takes. First is we're gonna do is that we have to secure shelter. We look around, find any shelter, whatever happens. Second, get water, because you can go 2 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. Get water, rain, from plants, bust open a tree, anything. Then look for food. Food is usually gonna be easy, like fish, crabs, anything. But the number one thing that I really wanna focus on when it comes to being stuck on an island is to not lose humanity. Because the moment you lose humanity, you've already forsaken all feelings, everything you have, to go back to civilization. Because that's where your humanity belongs. The moment you lose it, you've succumbed to the island. You've succumbed to the hardships that come for you. Like, yes, if we kill our friend Khalid just to eat him and get by for a few days, you've lost it. People tend to go crazy in very tough situations. And if I were to lead them, I would do everything that I can to bring them back to society. Not as survivors, but as human beings. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Okay, now we've got Toastmaster Fattah. Do you like to participate?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
I always liked number one. I don't know why.
Okay, number one it is. Okay. Question says, After COVID-19 ends, where do you want to go? Where do you want to travel? Again, the question says, after COVID-19 ends, where do you want to go or where do you want to travel? Stage is yours. Best of luck.
Are you really serious asking me that question? Are you really serious about it? You know, I spent 41 years in Saudi Arabia, and I came for 1 month to Florida to visit my son. And here I'm stuck for the last now 5.5 months and going into 6 months. And you're asking me, where do I want to go? I want to go to the land of humanity. You see, when we were there, people used to talk about Europe, America, you know, the country of freedom of speech, the country of humanity. Well, let me tell you one thing. I came to America several times and I was impressed. But when you stayed 6 months in it, I knew what humanity is. Humanity is in Mamlakat al-Insaniya, the kingdom which has looked after its people, looked after the expatriates. It doesn't matter whether legal or not legal. That is humanity. Here, yesterday in Florida, it reached the highest ever, 15,300 cases in one day. And trust me, Florida, they're huge, but here we are, locked down because we're responsible in a very small, tiny space. Where do you want to go? I want to go to the country where actually the neighbor talks to his neighbor. I want to go to the country where people are nice to people, where people, you know, take care of people. Here, even your neighbor, he doesn't even know you. And it's, you know, the laws in this country are so many. You make a small mistake and you can be in jail. You make millionaires have become homeless because of their laws and their complicated things. So when this COVID-19 is over, I don't think you're going to ask me that question again. I'll be back to Saudi Arabia and nowhere else, brother. I'm just waiting for that moment, and I'm waiting for the air to open so I can go home, back home, to my second home, which I call it the second home. As simple as that. Thank you, and back to you.
Okay, next participant is Yahya Khan. Could you unmute yourself? Hey. Glad to see you back.
Thank you very much, brother.
Okay, choose a question.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch the tiger by the toe. 10.
Number 10. Okay. Number 10 says, would you rather meet your grandparents or your grandchildren? Question again says, would you rather meet your grandparents or your grandchildren? Okay. Stage is yours. Good luck.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mohammed AlAmer. My answer is simple. Why not both? I mean, I like how there's like this, you know, ultimatum. It's like, hey, you get to choose, okay? You don't get both of them. Why am I being forced to choose here, man? but at the end of the day, I'd rather make sure I would try to meet both of them. Like, why wouldn't I? Because think about it this way. When you take a look at your grandparents, all there is to see in them is wisdom, experience, knowledge, you know? They can tell you so much about the life they have led that can help you in the life that you will lead afterwards. And then you have your grandchildren. You have survived to a point in this world that you can see them. You can get to see them. You can go ahead and tell them about how you as a person lived your life. You can go ahead and tell them what life that you led, how you went ahead and made your choices in your life. Because this information, this knowledge can really impact anyone out there. And this is why it is so important to go ahead and try to meet both of them. And to be forced a decision either by life or by someone right here, right now, is actually unfair because no one should be forced to choose between one or the other. Both experiences are absolutely invaluable and irreplaceable. Thank you. Back to you, Table Topics Master.